In today's video, we're going to be looking at how we can add adverts into our Flutter applications. Now, I know what you may be thinking, ads, I hate ads, they're annoying, and sometimes they block my screen and they get in the way of my user experience. But ads can be a sustainable way for developers to make an income from their applications without needing to enforce other form of monetary income from the apps, such as subscriptions and pay to download. For this reason, we're going to look in this video how we can add adverts to our Flutter applications using a package that's been created by the community. Now, just to outline, there are several different packages that are available for adverts. The one that I'm going to look at is Admob Flutter, which was actually, I think it was made by someone in the community. And there are different packages available. There's a Firebase Admob one, and there's another Admob one that's been created by someone else in the community. The reason I'm looking at this one is just because I found the API the easiest to use, and it was also the quickest to set up. So if you're looking for something that's easy to drop into your app and get started right away, then this is probably a good one to go for. Another quick thing to mention is that the project is currently looking for a maintainer. So if you're looking to get into open source contributions, then this is a good project to help out with, as there's still a few more features which are looking to be implemented. So yeah, this is the package we're going to be adding to our application, and we're going to crack on and start doing that now. So all I've done here is I've just made a new Flutter project in Android Studio, and this is just the default app which we see when we create a new project with a counter. I'm sure we've all seen this before if we've made a Flutter project. So I'm just going to head on over to my pubspec file. I'm going to add the project to my declarations. Was it 0.3.1? I think it was. Let's just double check that. Yep, 0.3.1. And when we've added this to our project, we can go ahead and retrieve the packages for use. Now, there's only a couple pieces of configuration that we do need to do to get this working. So the first thing we need to do is we need to have our ad account ID linked to our project. Now, I know you may be thinking, oh, I haven't made an ad account yet, and I don't really want to do that before I know if I'm going to have these in my app and if it's going to work well. So the good thing is, for this reason, is that Google provides us with a collection of IDs which could be used to test ads within our project. So what we need to do is we need to grab these IDs. So there are IDs here which we can use, and I'll link to this in the description of the video so you can make use of them, just copy and paste them as you please. And what we need to do is begin by heading over to our manifest file of our application and adding a metadata clause to our application. So I'm just going to do this here and here. I'm just going to add my application ID for my ad account, and this is going to stick it right here. So we're only going to do this for Android here. If you're going to be supporting iOS as well, you will need to add this to the info.plist file. But we're not going to do this in this video, just so we can focus on Android and get something working. So now we've added that, there's only one other step that we need to do to initialize the package. So we need to initialize the Admob project. So what I'm going to do here is just add this into some braces, and then here I'm going to call Admob dot. Where's the package? Come on. Yeah, I'm going to import the live package, my project. Yep, and then I'm going to call initialize, and then you need to provide your app ID. So this is essentially the package name of your project. com.example.flutter demo, Flutter app. I think that was what we have there, Flutter app. Yeah, cool. So we've added that. That's now our Admob is initialized for our project and ready to use. So what we can do now is we can go ahead and add a widget to our widget tree, so we can view an ad in our layout. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to scroll down to where these text views are. I'm just going to build this so we can see what it looks like. And we're going to remove these text views. And what we're going to do is we're going to add an Admob Banner. So Admob Banner is the first type of ads that we can add to our layout from this package. So what I'm going to do here is add this Admob Banner widget, and we've got it here. So as you can see, there's two arguments that have been stated here, and these are both required by the widget in order to be used. So the first thing is an ad unit ID, and this is one of those IDs which Google provides for us that we can test our ads with. So I'm just going to go and copy this. I'm going to go ahead and take it over and paste it in here. And remember, if you've already got an ad account, you can use your own. Otherwise, you can just copy this one and paste it in there. Oh, got a space there that we don't need. So, and also ad size. So there are a collection of different ad sizes which the Admob banner can use. So all we're going to do here is just going to use one of them for now. Admob banner size, this one, just down here. And we're going to just use banner size for now because, yeah, just so we can see what it looks like on our screen. And when Gradle's finally finished building, we can go ahead and test what this looks like. In the meantime, while that's loading, we can look at some other stuff which is which you can make use of. So yeah, as I mentioned, the Admob size and the banner. So if we jump into here quickly while that's still building, we can see there's 6 different sizes of banners that we can use. I don't think I need to show you each one on screen, just because that's just going to consume time. But there are 6 different sizes. We have banner, a large banner, medium rectangle, full banner, leaderboard, and smart banner. So the thing is, like, all of these ones up here are of a fixed size. As you can see, we have a width and a height. So you can place them in your layout and they'll be those sizes. The interesting one is the smart banner. So that will essentially be wrapped to the size of the container that it's in. So you could have a container that's, I don't know, 900 by 400, for example, and you could place a smart banner in there and it will be the size of the container that it's being placed inside of. So if you're having more like complex layouts or custom layouts, then the smart banner can be a useful one to use. Each banner can really depend on where you're going to place it. Like, there's not a one size fits all. Like, it may be best to put one, like a banner at the top one in a smaller place. And if you've got a larger area that you need to cover, then you can use the other sizes, kind of like a trial and error approach. So that looks like it's finally building. And oh, cool. So we've got an error, and I think it's because I didn't do the banner and I tried running it. So if I run this now, yeah, there you go, cool. So if we give it a second, the banner should load because, so yeah, you go. They don't appear straight away because the banners have to load. So it's kind of like, think of like a web view or something, like a website or something that has to load in the background. The space there is reserved, and as soon as that's loaded, it will load into content. So there you go, we have our banner ad. It's great. Obviously, we wouldn't put it there in real life in the middle of our screen, but it's in place and we can click it. My emulator is being super slow, and there you go. I haven't run Chrome on here before, so there you go. No thanks. And that's worked. So we've clicked the banner and we're taken to the ad, and it's taken us directly to the developers, Google, for the ad section, which is cool. That's neat, right? That was really easy to set up. That was like only a couple of steps, and we've got a banner ad inside of our application already. Neat. So what else can we do with this Admob banner? So let's just for example's sake, I'm just going to show you another banner size, but we won't go do them all just because, you know, each one will be application dependent. So that should show. Again, give it a couple of seconds and it should load into view, and yeah, and it will display for us and for our user to see. So other than that, what else can we do? So if we jump into the Admob banner, it's going to leave that to load. I'm not sure why it's taking so long. Maybe it's my internet. So yeah, what else is there that we can pass in? So you can see there's 2 other listeners, and there's an on-banner created listener and also this event listener, which allows us to listen for events on screen. So I'm not going to look too much at this one. It essentially just allows you to listen for when the banner's been created by the framework. But the listener can be quite useful. For example, you may want to listen for certain events, such as when the banner's clicked, when the banner's loaded, when the banner's interacted with in some way. And it can be quite helpful. Maybe you're doing analytics tracking, or maybe you want to do other things for the user to, like, you know, not reward them as such, but like just let them know that things are working, or things have gone okay or something. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add a listener here. This gives us back an Admob event, and it also gives us back a map of arguments. So these arguments are essentially like the if an event has some form of label, then that's going to come back in the arguments. Most of them don't have labels, but it's helpful if you need it. For some reason, my banner didn't load. I'm not sure why. Let's try another one. Let's try let's try a large banner. I'm not sure why that didn't load. So listener. So if we want to listen for specific events, we can do. Oh, that's our ad. So let's try it again. So if our event is of a certain type, you want to do something. So let's have a look at what type of different events there are. As you can see, there's a collection of events we can register for. In most cases, you probably don't need to do anything with these events. It just depends. I think if you need to track stuff for specific reasons, or if you want to do stuff in the UI when something is clicked, then you can do here. So I can add this here, and then I can handle stuff when that ad is clicked. Most of the time, you just want to know if that's been clicked and then do something with it. But that all happens. You get the tracking in your ad account anyway, and the revenue is still tracked and stuff. So you shouldn't really need to do that in most cases. So that's the Admob banner. And the reason I really like this is just because it's just like a normal widget, and you can just stick it in your widget tree and just load it. If I want to add another banner, I can add it underneath here. Just don't go crazy with the banners and start showing too much stuff and annoying your users. Cool, so that's the Admob banner, and that's the first ad. Yeah, some examples, use cases where I've used these. In one of my apps, I have this Admob banner size inside of the navigation drawer, and also have some of these banner sizes in like the list views as like in random points, which I think is quite a popular thing to do with adverts in applications. So let's take a look at another one. So we also have something called an Admob Interstitial. So that's kind of like a full screen ad that kind of pops up to the user. So it's kind of like a blocking UI, so it doesn't let them do anything essentially until that ad has been watched. So these can be good in sometimes when you just want to show something to the user, block the UI, and maybe these ad banners don't fit into your application. So for this reason, we're going to go ahead and create a function that creates us an interstitial ad, just because I want to put this in its own function, just so it's not being in the way of our all the mess we've got down there. So we're going to create a new Admob interstitial, and we've got the same thing again. We have an ad unit ID which is required, and we can't continue until that has been loaded. So again, we're going to head over to here, and we're going to go ahead and copy the ID and paste it into this place. There you go. Cool. Got our ad unit ID. All good. So that's our ad. So again, we don't really need to add the listener if we don't want to, but in these cases for the Admob interstitial, it's probably a good idea, because we have to do the Admob interstitial has to load before it could be shown to the user. So it's not like a banner ad where we just place it in our UI. The Admob interstitial still has to sort of be loaded into be able to be displayed, but we don't want to show that ad until it's actually loaded. Otherwise the user might just see like a full blank screen, and it'll be a little bit confusing. So what I'm going to do here again is I'm going to do add this listener, and we're going to have the same things again. We might not get anything back for like the arguments, but dynamic. But we're going to add this here. What would I do wrong? Oh, Admob add event, that's why. And yeah, so we got our listener, and that's great. So the thing is with the Admob interstitial is we're going to want to listen specifically for the loaded event. So this is going to be loaded. And then also we're going to want to listen for another event, which is when it's closed. And the reason for these is because we also have to clear up the resources for the interstitial ad once we're done with it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just add, just for the sake of ease, again, this isn't specific how you might do it in your application, but I'm just going to add this here. And what I'm going to do is when we initialize things here in init state function, I'm going to initialize the instance of our advert, just so that's available where it needs to be. Again, you don't have to do this like this in your application. However your project is working, you do it how it fits you. So we've got our ad set up, and now we need to do something with it. So when the ad's loaded, we need to essentially show it, which is basically using the show function. And when you call this show function, the ad will be shown to the user on the screen. We could do the same thing again, here, but except we don't want to show it, we want to dispose it. Essentially what this does is it clears up the resources and frees up the memory, because if we're not going to use that ad again, we don't need it. Again, if you're going to show that same Admob interstitial again, then you might not want to dispose it here. It really depends on what your application looks like, but in most cases, this will probably do the job. So what I'm going to do is, this is just in our init state. Again, you'll probably have this in a click listener or something, for some reason, but this could be done anywhere. So now we've got our ad. What I'm going to do here is ads created, but nothing's being done with it. We actually need to do something with the ad. So what we're going to do here is, again, you probably wouldn't. This could be done in some applications, but we're going when this flat fab is pressed, we're just going to load the ad, and that will essentially kick off the process of the ad being loaded. So when we hit this, the ad will be loaded. And then this listener will be listening from when the ad's loaded. When the ad's loaded, we can then show it to the user, which is when the ad will go full screen. And then when the ad's closed, we can then dispose of it and free up the resources that are being used up by the ad. So if I go ahead and click hot reload, and then we hit the add button, it's going to take a few moments. Yeah, there you go, because the internet can sometimes be slow. So again, you probably wouldn't do that exactly there in all applications. You might show progress, but there you go. We've got our interstitial ad. The user sees the ad. They click on it and they're going to be taken to the link that the ad points to, or they can close it and it'll be dismissed again. So that's something that the user can dismiss as they please and go back to your application. So the interstitial ad, again, you can listen for other events, but the only two that I've used here are loaded and closed, is that's what fits my needs. Just to mention as well, there is obviously another event which, in case you need to do something else with, I think it's called fail to load. So this essentially is triggered when the advert fails to load and nothing's going to happen. So there you could retry a couple of times, and if not, just let the user carry on as normal. And then that's kind of how that works. So when that's done, we've now got 2 ads under our belt. So we can add interstitial ads and we can add banners to our applications now. The last one is an Admob Reward. So so the Admob Reward, and we're going to create the same function called create reward. Again, these are just probably bad namings, but just for example's sake. And what an Admob Reward is essentially an ad that the user watches to be rewarded for something. So maybe if you have a game, then you make the user watch an ad and they get some form of in-app currency, or maybe you want to. They're trying to access a certain part of the app, and then they have to watch this ad to be able to continue to the next point. So that's what an Admob Reward can be used for. So it kind of works the same way as the interstitial ad, to be honest. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste this and change this to be an Admob Reward. And the only other thing that we might want to listen to is the when the ad is rewarded. So this is the only type of ad that can use this event. So we're going to go ahead and copy this just because it's easier. Rewarded. So basically, when the users watch the video or watch the ad, they're rewarded with. We get a callback to say, "Hey, the users can be rewarded with this." So this tends to be defined within the ad account itself, but you get back all the labels and stuff. So I'm just going to add some print types. So I'm going to say type, and then here we're going to add in the args. So I think it's so we're going to say args type, and this should be come back as the type. Oh, what the hell happened there? Cool. So type. So this should print out the type of the reward, and then we're also going to say what the reward is. So we're going to say reward, and then we're going to say amount, just because that's what's defined in our console. So we're going to again define this up here, just for sake of ease. So yeah, the reward thing is testable without going into the console, like using what Google provides you in terms of the test IDs. But because rewards can really vary per application, you're probably better off creating a test account, creating an ad account, and adding the rewards there. Because, for example, if you're making a normal application that's not a game, this probably isn't a good use case, because this is rewarding with the sample ad gives you currency. So that might not be fitting for all applications purposes. So there you go. I've just changed the ad unit ID, got that. We need to update our Admob rewards to be shown and disposed. And then here, instead of doing the interstitial, I'm going to hit the Admob reward. So that looks all good. You do a hot reload quickly. So quick. And we should be shown with our reward ad. There you go. You can hear the video playing music. And you can see up here a timer. And once the seconds are over, yes. Cool. So once that's happened there, at that point, once that seconds have gone down, we will receive these logs and they'll be printed out into the console, because that's the point our user has been rewarded. So if they click that ad, obviously they can dismiss it once they're done, but if they click that ad and the ad is shown and they dismiss it before they've watched the video, then they will not be rewarded. There you go. So you'll lose your reward and they get shown this. And this is all built into the package, which is really nice. So they can then resume it and carry on, or then they can then close it and close the video and not be rewarded. So this is what this event listener is for, because we can tell when the user has been rewarded or not. And that's really handy for us to loop into that callback. So at that point, that's kind of everything that I wanted to cover from a practical standpoint. There is an article which I've published as well, which goes into a bit more depth about how these, how the package ties together and all the components of the package. Kind of wanted to keep this video more practical, just to make it easier to follow along and to build stuff with. So yeah, just to recap, we've created a standard banner ad and allowed us to create different sizes of banner ads for application. We created an interstitial ad, which gets shown full screen when the user needs to be shown a full screen advert, and we've learned how to handle the life cycle of that advert. And we've also created an Admob Reward, and how we can create ads that allow our users to be rewarded for being engaged with the adverts that we're showing. So with that, that's kind of everything I wanted to cover. So I hope this video has been useful. If you have any thoughts for things you'd want to learn in future, feel free to leave a comment below, and please like this video and subscribe to my channel for to future videos on development, Flutter, Android, Actions on Google, and so on. But yeah, for now, that's it, and hope everyone has a great day, and yeah, looking forward to hearing from you. Catch you soon.